新技术的应用。
Elections for Hong Kong's chief executive are coming up on March 26th. Here's what you need to know. Hong Kong is joined in the mainland under the so-called one country, two systems model. Essentially what that means is that Hong Kong gets to manage its own political, economic affairs, especially its relatively free markets, its strong rule of law, while Beijing manages defense, national security, and a handful of other areas. But that system has been under strain, especially since the umbrella protests of 2014. Many Hong Kongers are keenly aware that Beijing appears to be infringing on the territory's rule of law, and that the Central Liaison Office, which is Beijing's most important representative in Hong Kong, is growing in influence. More broadly, many financial and business elites worry that the territory might be eclipsed by mainland financial centers, especially Shanghai. These elections will be heavily tilted toward Beijing, but they're much more important than they might seem. For starters, it's the first chief executive election that we've seen since the umbrella protests of 2014, and the opposition is arguably stronger than ever. At the same time, this election could be the first that, according to polls, the front runner is unambiguously not the preferred choice of the Hong Kong people. The front runner is currently Carrie Lam, who is Hong Kong's former top civil servant, and the preferred candidate by a wide margin is John Tsang, the former financial secretary and a candidate that has said very kind things about the opposition. Beijing has two ways of effectively dominating the election. First, it more or less controls the election committee. This is a 1,194 member body that elects the chief executive. It's comprised of some 38 different subsectors representing different bodies such as the professions, accounting, law, and so forth, religions, officials, and many others. The opposition has a presence in this body, and they actually did quite well in the recent elections, but the deck is still heavily tilted in Beijing's favor. That was a surprisingly complex question during some previous election cycles, but in this cycle, the answer is probably no. Carrie Lam appears to have the clear support of the Central Liaison Office and the National People's Congress, which is China's parliament. There's an interesting subplot here that Beijing has sent some conflicting signals about who exactly is its preferred candidate, but net-net, it seems clear that Lam is the favorite. So in the near term, her inauguration will be on July 1st, which is also the 20th anniversary of the territory's handover to mainland China. There's always protests on July 1st, and it's reasonable to think that this year's might be much larger than usual. In the longer term, Lam's lack of a popular mandate might act as a force multiplier when protesters come out on the streets. The opposition is going to relentlessly pound Lam as an illegitimate chief executive that was chosen against the clear will of the Hong Kong people, so it's going to exacerbate the long-term divisions within the territory. There's also a campaign error that could come back to haunt her. During the debate last week, she said that she would resign if mainstream opinion makes her no longer able to continue as the chief executive. She has since walked back that statement, but if and when mass protests do erupt on her watch over, say, a specific policy issue, the placards more or less write themselves, and it's going to set a very clear objective for the protesters.